The day feels like any other for the mechanic. The shop smells faintly of oil and rubber, the floor dusted with shavings of metal and dried mud from countless bicycles rolled through its doors. He wipes his hands on a rag that has long since lost its original color, and with a heavy sigh he begins to lock up. The evening light slants across the street, painting the cracked pavement gold. He's thinking about dinner, about the bills piling on his kitchen table, about how tomorrow will bring the same routine, until something catches his eye. At the edge of the street, not far from the shop, a girl stands beside a bicycle. It's a small frame, pink paint scratched, and handlebars wrapped in peeling tape. Her small hands tug at the chain, but it refuses to budge. The bike leans awkwardly against her hip, threatening to topple over as she struggles. She looks around, scanning for help, but the street is nearly empty. The frustration shows in her eyes. She's not crying, not yet, but the quiver in her lip reveals she's close. The mechanic pauses, keys halfway to the lock. He could pretend he didn't see. He could step inside, close the shutters, and walk away from someone else's problem. After all, the day is over, and no one pays him for charity, but something holds him there. Maybe it's the memory of when he was a kid, stranded with a flat tire miles from home. Maybe it's the way her shoulders slump in defeat. Or maybe it's simply instinct, the urge to help, even when no one's asking. He slips the keys back into his pocket and steps closer. The girl glances up, surprised, as his shadow stretches across the ground. He crouches beside the bike, his hands already reaching for the greasy chain. "Want me to show you a trick?" he asks, his voice gentle, not wanting to frighten her. She blinks, hesitates, and then nods slowly. The mechanic doesn't simply fix the problem for her. He lifts the chain carefully, shows her where it slipped, and points to the gears. He explains how the teeth catch, how the chain sometimes jumps when pedaling too hard, how she can check it herself before riding. The words tumble out naturally, not like instructions from a manual, but like advice passed down from someone who cares. She leans in closer, absorbing every word, her frustration slowly giving way to curiosity. Her fingers hover over the chain as if she's afraid to touch, afraid to do it wrong. He encourages her softly. "Go ahead, give it a try." She does, tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. The chain snaps back into place with a satisfying click. Her eyes widen, a spark of triumph lighting her face. She looks at him, smiling for the first time, and he feels something stir. A quiet satisfaction that has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with business. Behind them, the sun dips lower, shadows stretching across the street. The world continues as usual. Cars hum in the distance, shop windows reflect fading light. A dog barks 2 blocks away. Yet here, in this small moment between a worn-out mechanic and a girl with dirt-stained hands, something unexpected begins. The mechanic doesn't rush. He could have snapped the chain back on in seconds, handed the bike over, and walked away. But there's something different about this moment. He wants her to see, not just watch. His fingers point, steady and careful, as he explains, "This part here, these are the gears. Think of them like teeth. If the chain slips, the teeth can't bite, and the whole thing stops working." The girl tilts her head, studying the small cogs as though they're secret machinery from another world. Her brows knit together, concentration etched into her young face. She kneels down beside him, not caring that her jeans press into the gritty pavement. For the first time, she's not just a kid with a broken bike. She's a student. The mechanic leans closer to the wheel, the smell of grease filling the air as he slowly threads the chain back into place. But he doesn't finish it. Instead, he steps back and holds the bike steady. "You try," he says, nodding toward the chain. The girl hesitates, her hands hovering just above it, fingers trembling slightly. She looks at him, searching his expression for reassurance. He smiles faintly, a quiet encouragement that tells her she's capable. She touches the chain, wincing as the black grease smudges onto her palms. She struggles at first, fumbling, but he doesn't correct her immediately. He lets her wrestle with the resistance, lets her feel the weight of the problem. Only when she looks up again, flustered, Does he gently adjust her hand, guiding it toward the right spot? There, push down a little, good. Now slide it across. Yes, like that. Bit by bit, the metal links climb back onto the gear. Her eyes widen with each small success, the frown on her face softening into focus. The world around them seems to fade, the cars, the fading light, the tired ache in his back. For this moment, there's only the quiet rhythm of learning, instruction, attempt, correction, triumph. The girl wipes sweat from her forehead with the back of her arm, leaving a streak of black across her skin. She doesn't notice. She's too intent on the machine before her, her small arms straining against stubborn steel. The mechanic watches her determination, a spark of pride kindling inside him. Most people would have given up by now, but she doesn't. Finally, the chain snaps into place with a metallic click. The bike shudders, the wheel spins, and she gasps, a delighted sound breaking free from her lips. She did it, not him, her. She stands quickly, brushing her hands on her jeans, leaving dark streaks, her chest heaving with excitement. She grips the handlebars and looks at him as though he's revealed some kind of magic. He straightens slowly, wiping his own hands with the rag hanging from his pocket, his face calm but his eyes carrying the faintest glimmer of satisfaction. He's seen plenty of people grateful for a fix before, but this is different. This isn't just a repair-its knowledge, something she'll carry every time she rides. The girl grips the handlebars tighter, eager now, waiting for what comes next, her energy radiating into the fading light of the street, her gaze locked on the man who has turned a broken chain into something far greater across the street. Half hidden in the glow of a street lamp, a woman stands perfectly still. Her heels click once against the sidewalk as she shifts her weight, but otherwise she makes no move to reveal herself. She watches intently, her arms folded, eyes narrowing slightly as she takes in the scene unfolding between the mechanic and her daughter. She had planned to arrive quietly, to meet her child after work and walk her home, but the sight of her daughter stranded beside a broken bike stopped her in her tracks. Before she could step forward, the mechanic appeared. At first, she expected him to fix the chain quickly and go on his way. That's what most people would do. Fast, transactional, detached. But what she witnesses is something else entirely. Her daughter isn't just being helped. She's being taught. The woman's sharp eyes catch every small gesture, the patience in the mechanic's movements, the way he bends low to explain, the way he lets the girl try and fail before offering guidance. There's no rush in his manner, no irritation, no hint of condescension. He kneels in grease, stained coveralls on a dirty street, treating a stranger's child with more care than many would give their own. The mother's grip on her purse tightens, her heartbeat quickening as she realizes she's seeing something rare. She's spent years in boardrooms filled with polished smiles and hollow promises, years surrounded by people who say the right things but mean nothing. Yet here is a man she's never met, giving his time and his knowledge freely with no audience, no reward, no thought of being noticed. She tilts her head slightly, studying his face. The lines of fatigue are clear. He's been working all day, that much is obvious. His shoulders slump with exhaustion, his fingernails are darkened from labor, and his clothes are marked by years of hard use. He doesn't look like someone with much to spare, and yet he's giving more than most ever would. Her daughter's laughter reaches her ears, light and unguarded, the sound echoing off the quiet storefronts. The woman swallows hard, feeling something stir inside her chest. It isn't just relief that her daughter's problem is solved. It's recognition. She's witnessing character revealed in its purest form, not staged, not performed, just lived. The girl's small hands tug at the chain again under his guidance, and the woman notices how gently he encourages her. He never once takes full control, never brushes her aside. His patience is deliberate, as if he knows that teaching her to solve the problem matters more than the fix itself. The mother finds herself leaning forward unconsciously, drawn closer by the gravity of what she's seeing. A car passes between them, headlights washing over the scene, momentarily breaking her view. But when the light fades, she's still there, still hidden, still watching. Her expression has shifted from curiosity to something more calculating, her mind already ticking, analyzing, considering. She presses her lips together, a faint smile forming at the corners. No one knows she's here, no one knows who she is. The mechanic doesn't even glance around, too focused on the child in front of him. And that is exactly what makes this moment so powerful, so revealing, so full of possibilities that even she can't look away. The girl grips the handlebars tightly, her small chest rising and falling as she steadies herself on the bike. The chain is back in place, the wheels spinning freely now, and there's an almost electric buzz in the air as she prepares to try it. Her eyes shine with the kind of pride only a child can feel, pure, unfiltered, unstoppable. The mechanic steps back, his hands resting on his knees, watching carefully. He doesn't reach out to steady the bike, doesn't hover over her shoulder. He simply nods, giving her the silent permission to trust herself. The girl pushes off, her feet pressing hard on the pedals, and the bike wobbles forward. For a moment, it seems like she'll topple, but then the wheels catch, and she glides in a shaky circle across the pavement. Her laughter rings out sharp and bright, bouncing off the closed shop fronts. She circles once, twice, faster now, her pigtails flying behind her as if the chain had never broken at all. The mechanic straightens slowly, wiping his greasy hands on the rag tucked in his pocket, his face calm but his eyes alive with quiet satisfaction. He doesn't shout praise, doesn't make a spectacle of her success. He just watches, letting her own joy fill the silence. From across the street, the mother's gaze sharpens. She watches her daughter beam with triumph, a light in her face that she hasn't seen in weeks, maybe months. The sight pierces her, stirring something deep, but she stays where she is, hidden. The mechanic still has no idea he's being observed, no idea that his smallest choice, teaching instead of simply fixing, has become a silent test of his character. The girl pulls to a stop, braking hard, her shoes skidding slightly against the pavement. She looks at the mechanic, breathless, her voice bursting with pride. "I fixed it myself," she declares, the words tumbling out as if they're the most important she's ever spoken. The mechanic chuckles softly, shaking his head. "You did," he replies, his tone firm but kind. He waves away her attempt to hand him coins from her pocket. "Keep it," he says, tucking his rag into his belt. "No charge." She frowns, confused, but then grins, as if she's just received a secret gift. He doesn't ask for anything. No name, no thanks, no payment. For him, the moment is already complete. He turns back toward his shop, footsteps slow, body heavy with the fatigue of the day. But behind him, the mother watches every move, her sharp eyes never leaving his back. In her world, people rarely give without taking. Every deal has a cost, every favor comes with strings. Yet here is a man who asks for nothing, who teaches, helps, and walks away. She studies the way he moves, the way he carries himself, the way he seems unaware of the weight of what he's just done. The girl wheels her bike in small circles again, repeating the motions he showed her, practicing, committing each movement to memory. The mechanic glances over his shoulder once, just to make sure she's steady, then continues toward the darkened doorway of his shop, unaware that his actions have planted something far larger in the shadows that linger across the street. The mechanic is up early the next morning, the air still cool and damp as he rolls up the metal shutters of his tiny shop. The streets are quiet, only the faint hum of traffic in the distance, and the occasional bark of a stray dog breaking the silence. He stifles a yawn, rubbing the back of his neck, and begins arranging the bikes in the window, setting tools back into their places. Another day, the same as the last. He doesn't notice the sleek black car gliding to a stop outside until its shadow stretches across the doorway. The vehicle looks out of place here, shiny, polished, its paint reflecting the pale morning light like liquid glass. He straightens slowly, rag in hand, brow furrowed. The door opens with a soft click, and a woman steps out, heels sharp against the pavement. She's dressed with precision, tailored suit, crisp lines, a presence that commands attention without a word. And beside her, skipping lightly with a wide grin, is the girl from yesterday, her pink bike helmet dangling from her fingers. The mechanic blinks, recognition dawning, confusion following quickly after. The woman approaches, her steps measured, her expression calm but unreadable. She doesn't introduce herself right away. Instead, she lets her daughter rush forward, the little girl waving excitedly. "It's him, Mama, the one who showed me how to fix it," she says, tugging her mother's sleeve. The mechanic crouches slightly, smiling faintly at the child, though his eyes keep flicking back to the woman. There's something about her presence that unsettles him, something far removed from the simple world of chain grease and wrenches. Finally, she extends her hand, her voice smooth and steady. "You don't know me," she begins, "but I know what you did yesterday." He hesitates before shaking her hand, his own rough and calloused against her polished grip. She slips a card into his palm with emotion, the clean white surface catching the light. His eyes scan it quickly, and the words strike him like a sudden jolt. "Chief Executive Officer." He looks up sharply, disbelief flickering across his face. She nods once, reading the surprise in his eyes as if she's had this reaction countless times before. "I was there," she says simply, her gaze unwavering. "I saw the way you treated my daughter, not just fixing a bike, but teaching her. Patient, respectful, without asking for anything in return." The mechanic shifts uncomfortably, unsure what to say. He mutters something about it being nothing, just part of the job, but she cuts him off gently. "It wasn't nothing, it was rare." Her daughter beams, gripping her small bike tighter as if to prove the truth of her mother's words. The woman continues, her tone now carrying the weight of something more deliberate. "I run one of the largest transportation companies in the city. We're launching a new initiative, programs to bring cycling access, repair, and education to local communities. I need someone who understands not just the machines, but the people who ride them." Her eyes lock on his, sharp and evaluating, as though she's measuring not just his skill, but the fiber of who he is. The card still rests in his hand, heavy with implication, the ink pressed into his skin like a mark of destiny. The mechanic stands frozen in the doorway of his small shop, the CEO business card balanced between his fingers. The words on the glossy surface seem unreal, like they belong in someone else's life, not his. Yesterday he was just another tired man closing shop at dusk. Today he's staring at an opportunity that feels too big, too impossible to be meant for him. The woman watches him closely, her sharp gaze softening only slightly. She's testing him still, waiting to see how he reacts. It's not to the card, not to her title, but to the weight of the moment. Her daughter tugs at her sleeve, whispering excitedly about the bike, about the lesson, about how she knows she can ride anywhere now because she can fix it if it breaks. Every word the child speaks only deepens the silence stretching between them. The mechanic clears his throat, voice rough, uncertain. "I'm not sure I'm the kind of person you're looking for," he admits, glancing down at his grease-stained coveralls, his hands scarred from years of labor. He thinks of the bills at home, the cracked ceiling in his apartment, the nights he's gone to bed too exhausted to even eat. He's a man who fixes what's broken, not a leader, not someone who shapes entire programs for a city. But the CEO shakes her head slowly, her expression unreadable yet firm. "That's exactly why I want you," she replies. "Machines can be repaired by anyone with skill, but character, the willingness to teach, to give without expectation, that cannot be taught. That is what people will follow." Her words land heavy, stirring something he didn't even realize he'd been carrying all these years. A quiet dream buried under the weight of survival, now rising to the surface. He looks at the girl, still beaming, her small fingers smudged with the grease she's proudly refusing to wash off. In her eyes he sees what he gave her, not just a bike that works, but confidence, knowledge, a sense that she's capable of solving problems herself. And in that reflection, he finally understands. Yesterday wasn't about a broken chain. It was about a choice, teach or walk away. He chose to teach, and that choice has led him here. He inhales deeply, the scent of oil and rubber grounding him one last time in the life he knows. Then he looks up, meeting the CEO gaze. His voice is steady now, no longer hesitant. "All right," he says, "tell me what you need me to do." For the first time, her sharp features break into a genuine smile. She nods, slipping the card back into his hand, this time with a sense of finality. The girl cheers, hopping onto her bike, circling them both with laughter spilling into the morning air. The mechanic steps outside his shop, locking the door behind him. He doesn't know exactly what lies ahead, but he knows it's different from anything before. Yesterday he was a man surviving. Today he is a man with a purpose, because kindness had eyes and it found him, and in that single act his destiny changed forever.